you guys must have experienced quite a lot of fun stuff during the tour. Do you have any experience you want to share?
John does.
What?
Remember that bug that you had?
When did I have fun? I had fun one night.
Just one?
I've had fun every night, but it's not...
So nothing weird.
I would say the one that stands out.
There's
a couple. What?
The weird Lisbon story.
That's too long and complicated. It's really weird. That guy doing the shot of honey mustard with the butane, the lighter fluid honey mustard, and something else shot in McDonald's with his sweatpants falling down his butt.
Oh my god.
Yeah, he was doing butane, liquor, and honey mustard dipping sauce, and then he would do this dance that would just, I don't know, there was something really wrong with it.
Yeah. I don't know if that was fun exactly. It looked
like fun for him.
For him. For us, not as much.
I think
San Sebastian was pretty amazing.
one of the most fun experiences on this tour for me was just the one night off that we had, and us and Mastodon and their crew all went out to dinner and didn't play a show for once, and we just had good food and good wine and
There were some
good
swans.
conversation. It was nice.
Swans in the river.
We only had one day off this whole tour. They had several, but every time they had a day off, we'd play a show somewhere.
Oh, that's good.
So that one day off was nice.
Cool. Okay, well, as a photographer, I think it's pretty cool, like, what you guys do and just take a picture of the crowd and put it in your Facebook page. Who takes the shots?
I usually take it.
Okay, it's a compact camera?
Oh yeah, just a little.
Okay, cool. And,
it's one of the cameras that John hasn't lost.
Yeah, we use David's camera now.
The nasty things in there?
So I take a camera and I immediately give it back to David so it doesn't get lost. I lose stuff.
And I know your relationship with the audience is pretty cool. Like sometimes you get some people on stage and stuff like that. With this tour, probably your fans increased a lot. And how's your relationship with the fans right now? I mean, it's more like hot chicks come after you, or like weird beardo guys like my friend Adam.
Yeah, weird beards, not a lot of hot chicks. Yeah.
Should have brought someone hot with you instead.
Most of our fans are bearded.
Yeah.
Okay.
By far the majority are bearded.
Beards and beer bellies.
Okay. And the band was born in 2006. In 1 year after you guys played with Melvins, and I heard that your influences are like Melvins, Soundgarden, Queens of Stone Age, Nirvana, and I know that the influence in general, but I mean, what guys are listening nowadays? I know you like Britney Spears.
Well, I like Christina Aguilera a little better.
Oh,
Actually,
really?
just started, I have to admit, never mind, I'm not even going to. I've actually, the thing that I've been listening to the most by far in the last several months is the Kinks. So I don't know if they're going to influence any of the new songs at all. Probably not. But that's just what I've been listening to the most. As far as influences go, I kind of feel like that it's that stuff that you kind of listed already. It's the stuff that we listened to when we were teenagers that kind of informed the direction that we were always going to go. Musically, that's like darker but still kind of melodic, but a little bit slightly outside of the mainstream or whatever. So that's what's going to continually influence us, I think, musically, at least me. So
yeah, I feel like the stuff that I listened to when I was a teenager is even new stuff. I just heard some new Van Halen, and I was like, yes, that's like classic Van Halen, but it will never sound as good as the stuff that I heard. Yeah, well, I heard a song, but I was impressed. It sounds a lot like classic Van Halen, but it's not classic Van Halen. It's not stuff that I heard when I was 14. And that's the kind of stuff that makes who you are, I think, as a musician, and stuff. When you were rebelling as a crazy kid.
And how's the scene in Portland? I mean, some people in Brazil say, oh, it's the new Seattle, the new desert scene. I mean, have you heard about Grimm? It's a TV series.
Yeah, we've
shooting there.
Missed an opportunity. They left a card in our mailbox that they wanted to possibly use our house as a as a location.
Your house?
Yeah, but we didn't see the card until Grimm.
Hey,
It's a
extra
new
money.
NBC series. Yeah, it would have been. I mean, who cares? I don't care about the show, but the money would have been great. Because apparently they pay pretty well. And I heard the show is actually pretty entertaining. But as far as like the scene in Portland, I don't.
Is there a scene?
I guess there must be a scene. I mean, we have we have friends who play music that we're into, and so that's kind of like that's my scene in Portland. There's a million bands there, and tons and tons and tons of different styles that are going on, and there's a bunch of scenes that we don't know anything about. But that's kind of, I think what makes it great is that it's such a hotbed of
There's always a band that I've never heard of. That people are like, oh man, you gotta check this out. I'm like, what? Where the fuck am I? Oh, I've been on tour.
Yeah.
That's why I don't know. But
Oh, cool.
yeah, there's a bunch of good bands in Portland. Good people.
And talking about the way you sound, I mean, you use some better amps. It's kind of 70ish, and for me especially, it sounds like really Sabah kind of thing. And is anyone label you like stoner rock or heavy metal? Do you get annoyed by that or?
All the time.
Yeah, people say stoner rock, they say sludge, they say heavy metal, they say
Grunge.
Grunge. I would say, I don't know.
I would just say heavy rock.
That's
a heavy rock fan.
Yeah, because maybe, okay, what's your first option? Maybe get those amps and say, oh, actually the tone is quite good. Are you, it's something that you really like, or you think you experiment some new stuff, or
with the amps?
Yeah.
The way that happened was in the very early stages of Big Business. I don't know if you know that band. They became part of the Melvins. I played guitar with them for like 4 seconds, and the amp that I had just wasn't loud enough, and Jared uses this beta bass, and so I bought one of those at that time, and then it just kind of, I don't know how it happened, but ended up buying
Snowballer.
Yeah, it snowballed. And then we just ended up with, we have a bunch of them, and part of it is that they're loud and sound good, and they're very cheap. I mean, I got one of them for free, and I never paid more than, the most I paid for one of those I think was $250 or something. So at the time they were really cheap and sounded good, and now that we've had them worked on a little bit, are pretty durable too.
And we don't use any distortion pedals. Just that is the sound of us. So
really?
Keep it simple. The simpler the better. The less shit there is, the less shit can break.
Definitely. And it was 3 years between your first album and recording Murder of the Mountains. For me, it's a piece of art. Like, I mean, thank you so much for releasing the album, because the rock scene is being so shitty now. And thank you very much for that.
You're welcome.
And I know the first album you didn't have a producer. The second album you worked with Chris Funk.
Yeah.
How was working with him? I mean, because I had bands, and I know most of the time we didn't have producers. And when a producer comes and then do this, do that. How was working with him? He helped. What he did?
He basically, the reason why that album is so good is because we didn't really write it or play anything on it. He pretty much did everything. So it was much easier for us, and he was. It was really easy and smooth working with him. He was way more of a facilitator than a producer. He wasn't bossing us around at all. He just was kind of making things happen that we wouldn't necessarily have been able to make happen on our own. And he kind of helped out with the engineering a little bit, and had some access to equipment that we wouldn't have had otherwise. And if we wanted advice, he would give it to us. But for the most part, he was
a good tiebreaker if we were having an issue like two of us like this, and he'd be like, well, I kind of like that too. Okay, well.
And he did, I guess, to be fair. Well, we went on tour. We recorded all the basic tracks, then went on tour, then came back and did overdubs. And while we were on tour, he recorded on his own time a bunch of overdubs with like Jenny from the Decemberists and Kevin and Anita Robinson, who were friends of his and mine. And he recorded some stuff. And then we picked which of those things we wanted to add in, but that stuff wouldn't have been put on there. I don't think it hadn't been for him. So
that's weird under the surface stuff, which I really enjoy. I think it helps make the record listenable for a longer period of time. It's got some depth stuff.
It's for the smokers, as they say.
The smokers.